Hi guys, welcome to another Alice lesson. Now in this lesson we're gonna go over on functions part 1. Alright, so this might take a few different parts because there's actually a lot to go over with this. So just hang in there, sorry. And just review the lessons if you get messed up or confused, because I know this will take a long while to understand. Alright, so before we even get started, you need to understand what a function is in the terms of Alice. So what a function is, it's basically kind of a statement. It's a question in the form of a statement. For example, like, if the penguin is bigger than the ground, it'll do this. It's kind of asking, like, is the penguin bigger than the ground? And if it's right, then it'll do this. Alright, so let's just add an object. Alright, I'm going to drag in a penguin. Alright, so we're going to go to methods here, orient to the camera, methods, turn left, half a revolution. Now it's pointing straight at us. Alright, let's make it a bit bigger. Alright, so now let's create a new method. I'm going to call this functions AI. And now let's drag in an if statement, because that's what we're going to go over today, or in this lesson. Alright, so if true, do nothing, do nothing. Alright, so for example, let's drag in a method. Let's actually do wing flap 2 times. And then if it's anything else, we'll just do turn head right, turn head left. Now let's see what happens. Oh wait, no, we can't do that because it has to be called by another method, which has to be called the event, because we're the one that starts. Alright, so let's see. So apparently this happened because something was true. We don't know what that something is because we can't just have that random. Like, sure, we can use this if statement for it to wing flap times, but we can even just drag this out and it would still work. So if we just drag this out, it will still work. Watch. See, same thing. So you have to understand what the purpose of an if statement is. So what an if statement is, basically, if something is true, this block of code will happen. So obviously something was true that made it flap its wings twice. But if it's anything else, no matter what, it'll turn its head right, then left. Alright? So we need to put something here that's true. So that's when functions come in with Alice. So let's say the penguin is within threshold of object. So we drag this here because we see a yellow box. Every time we drag a function into the code area or methods area, you see a yellow box. That's where you can drag it into. We can't drag it here or there. We can only drag it here. So let's see what happens. Alright, so 1 meter of the ground. Let's see what happens. Alright, so apparently the penguin was within 1 meter of the ground, so it flapped its wings twice. So remember when I said it's basically in the form of a question? It's a question in the form of a statement. Well, I was right. Look, is the penguin within 1 meter of the ground? Yes. So it'll flap its wings 2 times because that statement was true or right. And now let's try something that's false. So let's drag this into the trash bin. Let's do penguin is what? What kind of function should we use? Let's do wider than, because the ground's wider than the ground. So if the penguin is wider than the ground, wing flap 2 times. But if it's anything else, turn right, turn left for the head. Alright, so apparently it's not wider than the ground, so it turns its head right, then left. So basically, that's how a function works with an if statement in the terms of Alice. But in the real world programming, when you drag a function here for the if statement, like remember how you just take this, you drag it here? Well, in the real world, it's not called a function. It's called a parameter, alright? So we'll get into parameters later on. Right now, I just want you guys to understand this, and that this also relates to real-world programming, because if statements are very common, and you'll use it a lot when you get to actual programming. And so that's all for this lesson. Hope it helped you guys a lot. I understand if you guys have a hard time understanding. Just review the lesson for a while, take it slowly, mess around, try it, and see what you get, alright? This will take a while, and I totally understand. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a PM, leave a comment below, and rate, comment, subscribe, check out my blog, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.